Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I was not planning on going live tonight. I honestly thought that I wouldn't have time, but what do you know? I do have a little bit of time to do a little bit of a live stream, a little bit of a current events, a little bit of a reaction to Nintendo's new Pokemon Direct, Game Freak's new Direct, where they formally announced new content coming to Sword and Shield. And this is very, very interesting to me for a lot of reasons because everything has happened the way I said it would. Now that Pokemon Sword and Shield is out, all the negativity, all the complaints, all the bitching and whining, like pretty much everything that fans were bringing up is now at this stage a complete non-issue. A complete non-issue. It's kind of phenomenal the weird 180 it's had since its release. Like pretty much everyone upon release declared the game to be good, and now with this DLC expansion, which seems to be more of an Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, like third version style, more content. Like with that incorporated into the formula, like this has the potential to be a really well regarded generation after all, in spite of backlash, in spite of the rage, and in spite of the complaints that certain people are still. It's kind of interesting. We've got a complete 180. Like, see, Pokemon Direct 19220. 63K likes and 9.5K dislikes. People are trying. A lot of these YouTubers are trying to rally backlash towards Sword and Shield. A lot of people are trying to say that, like, oh, this content should have been in the game to begin with. But really, I think overwhelmingly the reception to the expansion is positive, and it's only going to become more beloved, I think, once it actually comes out. Considering this expansion and everything it does, it really does feel like all of Game Freak's decisions regarding Pokemon Sword and Shield were very well founded. For example, cutting Pokemon and making them unavailable. You can't release new Pokemon if they were already in the game to begin with, right? And having them be exclusive to the DLC, and then like being able to trade them into players who don't necessarily own the DLC. That's very, 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 very interesting. I'm very curious as to how good the DLC is actually going to be. I was already happy with Sword and Shield to begin with, but like they're pricing this at $30. So I'm hoping it's going to be like somewhat lengthy, a somewhat lengthy expansion, actually. Maybe 15, 20 hours, 10, 15 hours, I think might be more reasonable considering how short Pokemon Sword was to begin with. But I think I'm already pleased. I think I'm already sold on it. I saw I like the new Pokemon. What was it, like Cub Fu? Cub Fu, the greatest Pokemon name I think I've ever seen in my life. That like takes inspiration from actual Chinese martial arts. Love it, love it, love it. Probably one of my favorite event Pokemon. The most impressed I've been with a unique event style Pokemon I've been in a long time. I love fighting type Pokemon. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah. Everything about the Direct seemed great. I like how it's having expansions. I like how they priced it. I like the completely different theme and style to it. It feels completely different than things we've gotten in the past, and I really, really appreciate that. Or even the base game, really, it really does feel like they're doing new characters. They're introducing new characters, like new plot elements, new areas, a new wild area. I think they showed in the trailer. New Pokemon, like everything about it. I was already very impressed with Sword and Shield. I was already planning on going back to it. I'm actually way behind on my games. I'm actually only just now playing my second route in Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I'm very, very much enjoying. That game really did deserve the Mario's Game of the Year. It's a fantastic game. I'm playing the Golden Deer route now, and I'm very, very, very impressed with it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, because I kind of admittedly kind of bought into the I really shouldn't have done this. I really did buy into the Pretendo complaints. I'm understanding this is now a Pretendo complaint. Back when I first played the game, I sort of bought into this idea that the game suffered because there are certain aspects in each route that you have to experience to understand the story, but playing all of them takes way too much time. Like I kind of bought into that. I kind of thought that like that was that kind of bogged the game down a lot. I think I said I had pacing problems, but now that I have the game on my second playthrough, now that I have it optimized, now that I'm on New Game Plus, now that I'm like doing all this stuff, mini maxing my characters, actually using a tea time, actually building relationships, actually like thinking about recruiting people into my house, doing all this stuff, actually playing around with like the instructions and like custom builds and like optimizing my team and like really curb stopping all these people. Now that like I'm breezing through it a bit faster, right? Now that I know how the game works, I am appreciating it even more than I already did. Very, very great game, and I'm already getting a completely different perspective on the story. Like a lot of people don't really talk about Claude all that much. I've noticed a lot of people kind of wrote him off as being like not really relevant to the main story, but I find him very, very interesting. I actually had not heard anything about like his plot line and like why he wants the Sword of the Creator and stuff like that. So I'm learning about that for the first time, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying myself. So yeah, there's a lot of content still in my game of the year. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm about like 40 hours in. I've been playing this game for a long time, and I think by the time I'll be done, it'll be like 60, 70 hours, assuming I go through it quickly. There's still a lot of stuff to do, and I'm really curious as to whether I'm actually missing content, because there are a lot of times where you can like go around and like talk to people and they sort of give you like interesting tidbits about the setting and world that kind of like really flesh it out. Like playing Golden Deer, I already kind of felt this way of Black Eagles, but playing Golden Deer really made me appreciate just how fleshed out and how interesting the world of Fodlan actually is. Like you have like characters doubting their like you have this like really intricate like political and religious backgrounds. You have like these Imperials that all have like sort of their different take on the faith. You have their like different relationship with it, with each other. Like they all come from different social classes, different families. You literally learn like what every family is. Like they all have like what their relationship with each other is. Like for example, Edelgard is like the imperial princess, but Ferdinand is like the son of like the Duke of Eiger, who some kind of important, stuff like that. But Golden Deer sort of has that too, like like how they have the 5 great lords. Like Claude's grandfather is like the head lord at the moment. Marianne's adopted father is like some new up and coming dude who sees problems. Yeah. I'm very pleased with it. I'm very anxious to see where it goes from here. It's already very different from Black Eagles, and I was not expecting that, especially considering like it's going along the same plot elements, because I'm still fighting the same people, but at least in the first part, but like the characters' reactions to it are like completely different, which is like a very interesting take, I think. Let's see. Yes. I really do need to formally say this, because it is the Xenoblade fans, I think, who have been like really getting uppity about Pokemon Sword and Shield. A game does not need to have high production values to be great or interesting. I keep seeing people bring up like, the visuals, they're terrible. Xenoblade is so much better. Pokemon Sword and Shield are far better actual video games than Xenoblade Chronicles. Like the gameplay is better, like just the team building, the general mechanics, just everything about Pokemon is better than Xenoblade from like a pure gameplay perspective. But like a lot of Xenoblade fans have been like pushing this narrative that Pokemon is not up to snuff. It's ridiculous. I'm not too impressed with Xenoblade fans at the moment. Yep. Okay, so what will neckbeards and furries complain about now with Pokemon? right now, I think they're going to complain about the DLC being overpriced and how it should have been in the bundled in the real game. I think that's the narrative they're going with, but I don't think it's going to stick the way NoNationalDex did, because again, you're getting all the Pokemon in your new game. When you get right down to it, you've always had to buy multiple versions of games to get all the Pokemon. So like people seriously coming out and saying that like, oh, they should have all been in the game to begin with. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're never fans. And I noticed that the people who are most skeptical about Pokemon Sword and Shield, Arlo and the Black Baron, two examples. They're not big Pokemon fans. Like the Black Baron hasn't played a Pokemon game since Red and Blue, and like Arlo has been like jumping in and out since the beginning. Like I think he went from like Gen 1 to Gen 5, and then Gen 8 is like the first one he's played in years. So like, yeah, it really does feel like a lot of the more casual fans who don't really appreciate what makes Pokemon appealing to people are sort of like getting angry about this. But personally, I think at this point that like most hardcore fans are very, very impressed. And honestly, the most skeptical thing the most disappointing thing I think I saw in the Direct was like a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Like, because it's a remake, and it took me a while to warm up to the idea, because like I completely forgot. People had to remind me of this. I forgot how annoying the first Mystery Dungeon game could be and how it needed to be remade, because I actually did beat the game. I did beat Mystery Dungeon 1. But then, this is very possible. You can go into a lot of the post-game dungeons using like HMs. And you don't need to learn the HMs. But if you have the HMs with you when you go into the final dungeon in like your inventory and you die, you lose them. So you can't go back into those post-game dungeons. So like I was completely frozen in this game. Complete oversight, like a complete glaring flaw. I'm not ever going to do that again. But it was definitely like one of the biggest like disasters I've ever had in my life. I've heard of that happening before. Like most people would just teach the HM to a Pokemon, but like it just a remake is very, very welcome. I mean, it's a legitimately really good game, and maybe ironing out the plot and sort of like, re-releasing it's not a bad idea. Actually, I think a lot of classic Nintendo games, a lot of the overlooked classic Nintendo games need to be re-released. Like everyone's talking about Paper Mario and stuff like that, but Link's Awakening DX did really, really well. Like Super Mario Bros. DX is one of my favorite games of all time. And I think a lot of games from the GameCube era and the DS era are about ready to be re-released in this DX format. I'm specifically thinking of games like, Spirit Tracks, games like maybe New Super Mario Bros., the original, Super Mario 64 DX. That would be very welcome. That's a big one, I think. Donkey Kong 64 DX, or maybe a Donkey Kong 64 2. That's now that I'm playing I've been playing Donkey Kong 64 for a while now, and I really, really love that game. I far prefer it to Donkey Kong Country 3. Like to me, the Donkey Kong trilogy is Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, and Donkey Kong 64. There is no Donkey Kong 3, okay? They just skipped right to 64. They went from 2 to 64, and it's just, oof. Yeah, I would love that. That's definitely something we need to talk about. Like, what games should Nintendo release deluxe versions of? Because there's a lot of stuff. Like, I don't think anybody was really expecting a re-release of DX in this Mystery Dungeon in this fashion. But now that I have seen it, I think it's very welcome. I think a lot of people are going to discover this game, and they might re-release a lot of the older ones too. But again, the iffy thing I'm having is that, like, well, they need to make new games too. And this is the take Emily Rogers has had, and this is why I'm angry at her. Like, oh, they need to make new games. Switch is going to be too port heavy for 2020. It's obnoxious. Like, do you not realize that like this game came out in 2006, 14 years ago? There are people. Yeah. I was like under 13 when that game came out. Okay, there are people who exist now, 13-year-olds who were not out, who were not born when this game first came out. So I don't understand why people are so apprehensive about classic games being re-released. Why people get so angry about Wii U ports. Like, no. These games need to be discovered. They need to be talked about. There's a reason they're so popular and so beloved. They're actually good. This isn't like The Last of Us, right? Where Sony will has to re-release everything on their consoles because they have nothing else to show. Like, Nintendo's still getting plenty of new games, right? Mystery Dungeon DX comes out like March 3rd. Samurai Showdown for Switch comes out in February. I've actually already bought Oddworld Stranger's Wrath for Switch. Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. I have lots of eShop games. There's lots of stuff to talk about. I don't need, if a game comes out, if it gets remade and I don't want to buy it, I don't buy it. I don't go on stream and start bitching about this remake, it's taking away from new releases of new games. No, of course it isn't. Did Link's Awakening DX take away resources from Breath of the Wild 2? Does anyone really think that? It's just there's definitely a disgusting amount of armchair analytics from a lot of these people who have no business doing so. Particularly the Switch Pro people, a lot of the same people from last year who were insisting that Nintendo's going to release a Switch Pro this year. It's going to be super powerful and be able to run all the third-party games. Meanwhile, all the third-party games came out on the standard Switch and ran perfectly fine. And now these same people are saying the same thing for 2020. They're going to do it this year. Nintendo needs more power. It's terrible. I hate it. Oh man. Let's see. So the Sword and Shield DLC I'm very optimistic for. Yep. Yeah, I really wanted that. I've been wanting to go back to Sword and Shield. Very, very addicting. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. I've heard that. Edelgard for political drama, Dimitri for a character study, Claude for the lore. Yeah, so I definitely would recommend for first-time players to not start with Edelgard, because Edelgard, I don't know, the entire appeal is just realizing that she's completely fucking insane, and thinking that you have to go along with it, and it doesn't explain everything very well. I think at this point I would suggest starting with Blue Lions or Golden Deer, because Edelgard seems more like a post-game style thing, especially the final boss in Edelgard's route, the church route, was really, really difficult. So, I'm actually not sure what the Black Eagle's final encounters are like. I actually don't know what happens in the other routes, come to think of it. I think Edelgard becomes Femto in the Blue Lions one, but I'm not sure if she's the final boss. Yep. I've heard Blue Lions is very good, so that's why I'm saving it for last. Yep. Yes. Having a DLC expansion is better than having a third version. I do. All the people who are bitching about this decision, you really need to understand is that a lot of people were not happy about how Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon sort of handled having a second version of Pokemon Sun and Moon. It was basically the same thing with some DLC, with some new features tacked on, which was apparently Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were very, very good. I myself haven't played them yet. I do own Ultra Sun, but there really was a lot of talk in the community. This kind of practice is kind of outdated. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They really should have just released a DLC expansion with all this stuff where I could just continue where I left off in my own save file, right? Having a completely separate release is just kind of pointless, and just having to start from the beginning, just for a couple of new features, even if they're very good features, it was just it just seemed it didn't work very well. And I think making that sort of thing, third versions, the traditionally third version content be a DLC is a bit more preferable to me. actually. I myself traditionally never grew up playing the third versions at all. I don't think I own any. Oh, yeah, I own Yellow. Yeah, I own Yellow, but that was because that was before I understood how Pokemon worked. Before I understood that, like, oh wait, these versions are the same thing, but wait, Silver is different. Like, that was before like the whole generation concept came into focus. Like, being confused. Ooh, I'm just like, ooh, ooh. Um, what was I talking about? Yeah. So I love Pokemon Yellow. It's my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorite games, and yet I never really bought Crystal, never bought Emerald, never bought Platinum, never bought Black and White 2. Ultra Sun is actually the first one I ever bought, and that was one that, like, okay, I still haven't played. So yeah, the fact that I'm already considering getting the DLC expansion for Sword and Shield says a lot about it. Not just about Sword and Shield and how high quality that was, but I'm just, ooh, very, 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 very impressed. Very, very eager. I am very, let's see. Yep, you can just trade. Yep. Yeah, Nintendo's approach to DLC has been like top tier. I'm very. It's been kind of a meme since Mario Kart 8, but Nintendo's DLC is just better than the competitions. Like, I don't even buy DLC from other companies anymore. Like, I love Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Won't buy DLC for that. Mortal Kombat 11 won't buy DLC for that. What even else has DLC on the Switch? Sonic Mania didn't buy DLC for that. Nintendo's DLC is just, actually better. Like Mario Kart, it actually does a yeah, the fact that I can't even really think of a game that has DLC. Like Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think it's getting an entire expansion. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had like this massive $50 hour long expansion. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a terrible game, don't get me wrong, but you got your money's worth at least. And I think they did make improvements over over the original game, which kind of baffles me. Like, I think the combat is more intricate in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Man, I'm really anxious to get through with Fire Emblem Three Houses so I can like shelve it and then get back to Astral Chain, because that's a game I think I've like vastly underplayed, because I kept expecting to like put all this time into it. Like, I really wanted to 100% it, right? Because there's a lot of stuff to do in that game. But like, I haven't even gotten started, right? It's a lot like Bayonetta in that respect, where like I sort of have tried to do completionist, but like I haven't really tried yet. Like, like I haven't like really sat down and was like, been like, okay, I need to sit down for like a weekend and just do this. That hasn't happened with Astral Chain yet, and it will happen eventually. I really do like that game. It's a lot of fun. But like for now, I'm on Three Houses. I really want Three Houses done before the DLC expansion comes out in April. So I think I'll be focusing on Three Houses going forward, and playing Disgaea 1 on the side. I really enjoy Disgaea, by the way. I've become a huge fan. I think Disgaea is like one of the most fun I've had with like a strategy RPG in a while. It's just, well, not really a while. When I talk about Three Houses is better, obviously, but like fun, like it's such a goofy idea. It's such a goofy game, and I just enjoy it so much from start to finish. Like, ooh, I love Disgaea 5. Disgaea 5 is actually one of my most played Switch games. Actually, one of my most played Switch games of last year. Clearing it like took a weekend. I think I spent like 12 hours a day, like during a weekend, just playing that game and finishing it, and it was like so much fun. Now I'm on Disgaea 1, and then I gotta move on to Disgaea 4. I'm so excited. And like I have other games too that I need to get a hold of. Like I need to play through like Valkyria Chronicles, like 1 and 4. I haven't really played either of them, and I really like what I played. I just haven't gotten around to it. Right now, I'm just trying to get through my backlog primarily. I would like to get through a significant chunk of it before games start coming out again in April, or March, I think. March, I think, is when things are going to start blowing up again. That's when the TurboGrafx 16 Mini is coming out. That's when Animal Crossing is coming out. Doom Eternal is coming out. Doom Eternal for Switch is coming out, I should say. Lots of stuff to look forward to in March. But like right now, I've got to get through my backlog, my crazy backlog of like literally hundreds of games. Well, I am getting through them. Like I did finish Kirby Super Kirby Clash. That was a lot of fun. Kirby Monster Hunter. That was a very surprising, pleasant free to play title, free to start title, I should say. Excuse me. I've played 3 houses. I'm on now. I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 11, a lot of Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Well, I play that again. I haven't been playing a lot of it. I need to get back to it. What else? What else do I have over there? Oh yeah, Super Mario Party. That was the other one. I cannot believe I forgot to mention Super Mario Party, which has been like a very, very surprising breath of fresh air, and like all of these really time-consuming, hardcore sort of like it's nice to play a game and just relax sometimes, and like Super Mario Party is very, very good at that. I really, really enjoy it. And ooh. Yes, I hope you enjoy my book. Yes, thank you for buying it. $40. There are plenty of good JRPGs on the Switch, lots of them. Of course, I would recommend like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest to start with, but I think there's like Disgaea is great. What else? Fire Emblem Three Houses, of course. Lots of good RPGs on Switch. Other than fighting games, I think RPGs are probably one of the Switch's strongest genre right now, actually. Yes. An internet blood sports between like a Nintendo fan and Xbox. Yeah, I would love that. But are there enough Xbox fans to do it? Like, I think at this point, it's all like PC gamers at this point. So I guess it'll be like Nintendo fans versus PlayStation fans versus PC fans. And I think like Nintendo fans and PC fans would like destroy PlayStation fans. I really do. Like PlayStation fans are just, oh, wow. They're a joke. Oh, yeah. Ring Fit Adventure is great. Yep. I actually haven't been playing Ring Fit Adventure because I've been sitting on my home gym and I've been focused on that. So I might actually show like a footage of that, of what I'm doing with that, because that's something I'm very proud of and something that I think is going to help me lead a very, very good 2020. Like I'm projecting that I'll be able to like wake up, get some shoes on, go out to my gym, like literally my home gym, and just work out like every single day without fail, and like do a really, really good workout. And I'm really, really excited for that. But oof. Yeah. Yep. Doom on Switch is the best version of the game. What about Highlander? You keep mentioning that. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe if I see it again, I'll talk about it. But right now, I need to watch the TV show. I haven't even watched any of the sequels all the way through. Like I watched like 10 minutes of Highlander 2 just to see how bad it was, and I was just like, no. I cannot do this. I just cannot do this. Sean Connery and on the planet Zeist, is it? Like, really? The Immortals are aliens from another planet? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, that is the absolute worst thing I think I've seen anyone ever do. Like, I cannot think of a single weird plot trade, like something weirder than that. Maybe there's something else, but like I'm sure there's something else out there, but I can't think of anything. Like that just completely shits all over the original. It makes no sense. It was just baffling to me. there's so much about that doesn't make sense. Like it's just, oof, I cannot believe they did that. Let's see. Well, the PC gaming master race doesn't need to be defeated. They're pretty much already dead. Of Omo Shindairu. They're already dead, and it's basically just held aloft by Steam at this point. Oof. Um, I think once digital distribution becomes more commonplace on consoles, I think PC is going to lose a lot of its appeal. I think that's the main reason PC gaming has so many users, because it's so easy to just install Steam and then just play games on Steam, play games on your computer that you use for work. Like I don't think it's I don't think the future is PC gaming. I really don't. It's certainly not game streaming for sure. And I think that's the reality, is that like game streaming is not going to kill consoles. It's going to kill PC, because with that, if you like can just stream games to your platform, like at the highest possible resolution, like suddenly having a more powerful rig isn't going to matter all that much, as long as you have like a good connection. And I think that's going to be the future. Like Nintendo consoles are going to continue to like innovate and do new stuff, and like PC gaming is going to stagnate. I would argue it's already stagnated. Once VR reaches the point where it's technically old technology that never took off, I think PC gaming is going to go way downhill. Yeah, people always point to the Steam sales, and I'm just, well, ooh, I'm not I'm not too impressed with Steam. I really am not. I don't think I've ever bought a game from them. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about today? I think I talked about the Pokemon Direct. I talked about like let's see. Did I talk about Switch Pro at all? Because certain individuals are Review Tech USA are like, I did talk about that. Yeah, I think that's it. Other than like Nintendo Switch domination, I think I've covered everything I wanted to talk about today, unless there's something else. I think the long and short of it is that like Game Freak is continuing to be a stellar development partner for Nintendo. They are very much putting out like high quality releases that people enjoy, that people come back to, that people buy, and they're continuing to do new novel things with their iconic brand, Pokemon, and seeing Mystery Dungeon come back. Oh, that's another thing about Mystery Dungeon come back. Remember back when this announcement first came out, and like conspiracy theorists were like suggesting that the Pokemon Company was going to stop putting out games like Mystery Dungeon in favor of more smartphone games. Yeah, they're kind of looking kind of dumb now, aren't they? Like so much of their complaints have sort of like fallen flat. Like really, remember like the animation thing, not having all the Pokemon thing, the length of the game thing. It just none of it panned out. None of it panned out at all. The games didn't even like sell poorly. Like this backlash resulted in absolutely nothing. I'm just so unimpressed, so unimpressed with Pretendos right now, and oof. Let's see. I guess I could watch that Arlo video of his reaction to the the Pokemon Direct, because that's something I wanted to talk about, because I do have issues with it, like very, very strong, severe issues with it. If that's something people are interested in, me shitting on a blue Muppet for 12 minutes or so. Pokemon is getting paid DLC, and I am heavily conflicted. Damn, like he has the most clickbaity titles I've ever seen in my life. Like even reading the titles for his videos annoys me. It's just oof. Uh, Arlo is such like Arlo is the absolute worst. And that's the thing. I don't think I'm going to watch the video. I'm just going to address what he said in it. Arlo says that this is overpriced and that like it should have been in the base game, basically. But Arlo is a fan of Starlink Battle for Atlas. In fact, he actually went out this holiday and bought like 4 copies of Starlink Battle for Atlas. He owns a bunch of them. He owns a bunch of these like little toy figures, right? He bought the toy figures, and yet he has the audacity to come out and like say like, "Oh, Pokemon's a bad game." No, it isn't. Like, no, it isn't. There's nothing bad about Sword and Shield. Like, you're essentially what Arlo's doing. He's essentially trying to appeal to that crowd. He's trying to recapture that audience. I would argue he still has it, kind of, but he's trying to be the Paper Mario guy, right? He's essentially the figurehead for these people who are like angry at Nintendo for these kind of very specific things, right? Like for not making Paper Mario, not making Pikmin. This is kind of a meme. I'm making games that we don't want or whatever. It's just, and yet he like defends the weirdest shit. Like Starlink is one of the biggest red flags. Starlink is probably one of my least favorite, most disliked, most hated, I should say, Nintendo Switch games. I strongly dislike Atlas, a Battle for Atlas. I thought it was a major step back from Star Fox Zero. I thought Ubisoft really dropped the ball. I hated the toys. I hated everything about it. But Arlo comes out and like, it's so cute. Look at how you can play around with the toys. It's just like, he's like a modern day BitBlock when you get right down to it. Just hyping up stupid shit because it's cute and just or shitting on stuff that's actually good and exciting too. Like this DLC expansion, I did get excited watching this trailer. I was invested in it, and I think most people are as well. And yet these Nintendo boomers, the Pretendos, I don't know. They're gonna keep doing this. I guess they gotta get those views somehow, right? They gotta stay relevant. They gotta keep raging about about Nintendo, about how they don't announce enough stuff. It's just oof. Yeah. Starlink was a bomb, thankfully, and just you gotta love the discrepancy, right? Like when Star Fox Zero didn't do well, there were all these weird conspiracy theories about how Miyamoto botched the development, how it should have been delayed, how Nintendo, like how the Wii U is a failure, and like all this weird shit. And then Starlink comes out, is heavily hyped in spite of being a lot worse, like visually, gameplay wise, like everything. And then suddenly it bombs, like worse than Zero, I would think. I suspect. I'm not sure how well Starlink did. Starlink bombed, like for sure. Starlink did disastrously poorly, and like not a peep out of these people. In fact, they're actually defending the game and hyping it up. I've talked about this before. There was a Reset Era thread I wanted to show off on stream at one point, but basically, it was just shitting on Star Fox and then like being like, "Oh, but Starlink was good." Like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. What are you talking about? It's let's see. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We're definitely need a way to keep caught up on news and stay in line with what's going on because sometimes there are plenty of times where I really want to talk about something, but then don't necessarily have time to make a video about it. Like even today, I probably shouldn't be sitting up. I probably should be doing something else. But oof, yeah, I think that's everything. Unless somebody else has something I want to talk about, I think I'm going to ask people to like, comment, and subscribe. Please buy my book. Put here, and I think I'll be on my way out unless something else comes up. Yes, the anti-Nintendo bias is very, very strong. It's unbelievable. Oof. Let's see. Pokemon Home. Yep. I didn't even talk about Pokemon Home. I haven't been thinking about it at all. I don't think I care about it very much. That's an interesting thing. A lot of people have been raging about Pokemon Home for merely existing, right? And then like someone like me who's not really interested in it, I'll just ignore it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to rage about it. I don't care. I'm just not going to use that specific service. And I don't think these people, I just can't take them seriously anymore. Like seeing them rage about like all this nonsense, pushing, making up these weird claims, these weird agendas. It's just ridiculous. Yes. These people are frauds. I agree, and it's up to us real fans to really separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. We need to gatekeep. We need to be strong. We need to talk about like good games, and don't let companies like Ubisoft, Capcom, Square Enix like dictate what the Nintendo Switch can and can't do. It's just oof. Oh yeah. The Witcher 3, by the way, still terrible. Definitely a pleb series, The Witcher. I really do think that the people who go sit around talking about The Witcher in like public and stuff like that don't necessarily play video games. That's always the impression I get. Like I love Breath of the Wild. It's one of my favorite things of all time, but I don't sit around talking to people about it years after the fact. Not the way that Witcher fans do. Like it's a lot like Game of Thrones in that respect, where like its appeal is like talking about it and like being in the know. I suppose it's a true AAA game in that in that regard. Yeah, I don't have time to play games I don't like anymore, so I'm trying to get through my backlog eventually. Right now, I'm content to just like say that yeah, I own The Witcher 3. I tried to play it, and I know it's garbage. It's not very good at all. Like you're better off playing Dark Souls. You're better off playing Dragon's Dogma, Breath of the Wild. Uh, you know, I would suggest even Skyrim kept me more entertained. The console version of Skyrim kept me more entertained than The Witcher 3 did, which is saying a lot because I didn't like Skyrim either. But yeah, there was nothing to me. There was nothing appealing to me about The Witcher 3. Nothing at all. Yeah. I think that's everything I wanted to address. Yeah. Pokemon looks great. Switch Pro rumors are fake news. YouTubers are hacks. Was there something else I wanted to talk about? Did I talk about my 2020 plans? I mean, maybe I can wait for another stream. I think I have been streaming too long. Yeah, I think I'm about ready to go. All right, so I could yeah, Angry Joe. Angry Joe has set up a Patreon. So expect me to talk about that at some point in the future. But until then, I will see you all next time. Remember, please check out my book. Please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it because I am well on my road, well on the road to getting everything I want out of my life. And it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.